5. The Fastnet Race of 1979. The Fastnet Race, organized by the Royal Ocean Racing Club, stands as a prestigious event in the sailing calendar. Departing from Cowes on the Isle of Wight, participants navigate to the Fastnet Rock in the Atlantic, returning via the Isle of Scilly to conclude the challenging 605-mile or 973-kilometer course. The 1979 Fastnet Race, however, etched itself into history for all the wrong reasons. On August 11th, as 303 racing yachts sailed across the Irish Sea toward the Atlantic, an unforeseen storm emerged. A collision of a cold front with the warm air from the Gulf Stream unleashed hurricane winds and formidable waves. Surpassing meteorological predictions, seasoned sailors grappled with gale-force winds up to 70 knots or 130 kilometers per hour, and towering waves of 30 feet or 9 meters. In 1979, many racing yachts prioritized speed over durability, constructing hulls from fiberglass, a lightweight but untested material in adverse weather conditions. Yachts caught in the storm faced overwhelming waves, resulting in capsizing, tipping, and even being torn apart by the raging tides. Rescue efforts encountered challenges, with the storm's intensity complicating the retrieval of distressed sailors far from the shore. Coordination was hindered by inadequate radio technology on the yachts, aggravated by storm interference. Despite the odds, rescue teams, including the Royal Navy, Lifeboat Service, and the Dutch warship HNLMS Overijssel, managed to save 125 sailors, but tragically, 15 lives were lost. After the storm subsided, the extent of the Fastnet Race's toll emerged. 75 yachts capsized, 5 sank, and only 86 reached the finish line out of the initial 303. Post-tragedy investigations revealed shocking lapses in safety measures that could have saved lives and vessels. Inadequate radios, flimsy vessel construction, and the absence of crucial safety features like life rafts and emergency radio beacons were identified. Armed with these findings, the offshore sailing community took decisive actions to enhance safety protocols and raise awareness, ensuring that both onshore teams and those at sea were better equipped. Fortunately, there has not been a yacht racing disaster of such magnitude since. 4. The Super Yacht Fire. Super yachts, the opulent possessions of the mega-rich, come with a hefty price tag, often costing millions of dollars. Therefore, when 2 of these luxurious vessels go up in flames simultaneously, it marks a significant tragedy. On January 4, 2016, authorities in the Marmaris Resort in Turkey received reports of a fire engulfing the marina. Upon arrival, they discovered that 2 prominent super yachts, namely the One and Barbie, were both ablaze. Firefighters worked tirelessly to quell the inferno, while fellow yacht owners endeavored to relocate their boats to prevent them from succumbing to the spreading flames. The challenges, however, extended beyond combating the fire. Simultaneously, a massive operation unfolded to pump water out of the compromised hulls of the 2 super yachts, preventing their descent into the marina's depths, all while the fire raged on their upper decks. The vessels in question held esteemed status within luxury circles and among enthusiasts. The One, originating from 1973, played a pioneering role in the mega-yacht industry and was formerly owned by German supermarket tycoon Helmut Horten. At the time of the fire, it belonged to Francesco Gaetano Caltagirone, prompting design firm Bannenberg and Rowell to express on Twitter that the vessel will be missed. Barbie, adorned with the iconic cursive lettering reminiscent of the doll, was a more recent addition, constructed in 2006. Owned by former Galatasaray president Ünal Aysal, it had acquired a cult following during its time at sea. While the exact cause of the fire remains unknown, it is confirmed that it originated on the older vessel, the One. Witnesses reported hearing an explosion emanating from the vessel, possibly attributed to an electrical fault. Fortunately, all individuals on board both yachts emerged unscathed, with no reported injuries. However, the incident undoubtedly incurred substantial financial losses for the yacht owners and their insurance companies. What would you do if you owned a super yacht? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button while you're at it. 3. The collision of Topaz and Spia. The Super Yacht Challenge Antigua stands as one of the premier yachting events in the contemporary era, known for the fierce competition amid the open waves. However, in 2020, the intensity reached unexpected heights. Moments before the commencement of the first race on March 12th, the J-class yacht Topaz approached the starting line, just minutes away from the starting signal. Simultaneously, Spia, another J-class yacht, attempted a similar maneuver on the port side. Unfortunately, Spia's course was set for a collision with Topaz, leaving the latter with no recourse. The impact between Spia and Topaz was forceful, resulting in substantial damage to the latter's hull. Unabated, Spia continued its momentum, riding up over the stern of Topaz's top deck, leading to injuries for 3 sailors on board. The collision propelled 2 individuals into the water with such force that they suffered cracked ribs, while a third was dislodged from Spia due to the collision's impact. Both vessels were compelled to retire from the Super Yacht Challenge Antigua before the event even commenced. Topaz sustained damage to its boom, main sheet, and backstays, with the port runner completely torn off by Spia. Concerns about the structural integrity of Topaz's mast also prompted investigations, as the collision had subjected it to an extreme load. Subsequent to the incident, an inquiry was launched to ascertain the cause of the collision involving these seasoned racing yachts. The J-Class Association considered accounts from the event, including dramatic footage captured by a yellow yacht named Valsheda. Ultimately, the investigation determined that Spia bore responsibility for the collision as the port-side vessel and should have yielded the right-of-way. No blame was assigned to Topaz, with the investigators concluding that the vessel had minimal opportunity for effective evasive action given the circumstances. 2. Hmy EOL. The steam-powered yacht Hmy EOL was making its way back from the World War I front following a ceasefire on November 11, 1918. On board were numerous men from the Royal Navy Reserves, eagerly anticipating a new year of peace with their families. In the early hours of New Year's Day, just a short distance from Stornoway Harbor on the Isle of Lewis, where many of the men hailed from, the yacht struck rocks off Home Point, sinking and claiming the lives of 205 men, with 184 of them from Lewis. The tragedy had a profound impact, touching almost every family on Lewis and sending shockwaves through the close-knit Scottish community. Adding to the sorrow was the fact that many returning men aboard the yacht had not volunteered for the war. Islanders had attempted to appeal against conscription, aware of the hardships their absence would impose on their families. Living in crofts passed down through generations, the men were essential to sustaining their families' livelihoods. Appeals against conscription were often denied, leaving many to serve on the front lines against their wishes. Accounting for the deceased was a prolonged process. Although English officers on the Hmy EOL were declared deceased in January 1919, closure for many families came later, when the wreck was finally raised from the seabed. Unfortunately, some bodies were never recovered. The emotional toll was so overwhelming that Peggy McRitchie, assistant to the registrar for the Stornoway district, resigned in early 1920 due to the heartbreak caused by the Hmy EOL tragedy. Families who lost loved ones on the EOL found some financial relief in a disaster fund established to accept public donations. Lord Leverhulme's initial contribution of £1,000, along with subsequent donations and fundraising concerts, amassed a total of £29,116. Affected families received annual compensation ranging from £7 to £9.10 to alleviate the loss of the sons, brothers, and fathers. The scheme supported 201 families, and the final payment was made almost 2 decades later in January 1938, when the last child born to a fallen seaman turned 18. 1. The Excalibur. In 2002, the racing yacht Excalibur was making its way back to Melbourne, Australia. After participating in the annual Hamilton Island race, night descended on September 16th when the 6 crew members aboard were startled by an unusual metallic sound emanating from beneath the vessel. Within moments, the entire yacht unexpectedly capsized, taking even the most seasoned crew members, including skipper Brian McDermott with over 30 years of experience, by surprise. McDermott had just enough time to shout about the missing keel before being plunged into the water, trapped beneath the overturned boat with his 5 crewmates. Adhering to the customary practice on racing yachts, all crew members were harnessed to the vessel for safety during racing conditions. However, in this dire circumstance, the harnesses served to keep them submerged. McDermott managed to unclip his harness and inflate his life jacket, while crew member John Rogers had to use a knife to cut him free. Surfacing, they conducted a head count, realizing only they were visible, with the other 4 crew members yet to be found. Quick thinking prompted McDermott and Rogers to secure themselves together. McDermott activated his strobe light for visibility, hoping to attract the attention of any nearby vessels for rescue. Battling ferocious seas with waves up to 15 feet or 9 meters high and strong winds, they called out to their missing comrades, hopeful they were alive. For almost 7 hours, the pair clung to each other, wrapping their legs around one another to conserve body heat and fend off deadly hypothermia. Rogers activated his electronic position indicating radio beacon, a move that would prove crucial for their rescue. Eventually, they heard the whirring of a helicopter above them, and a spotlight beamed down. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority had detected their signal and initiated a rescue attempt. However, the helicopter, running low on fuel and lacking a winch, left them stranded once more. Fortunately, at least someone knew of their location and dire situation. The pair noticed another vessel approaching, initially mistaking it for a small fishing boat. As it became apparent that it was a 50,000-ton bulk carrier, the MV Curia, heading directly toward them, fear set in. McDermott and Rogers attempted to swim out of harm's way, but their weakened state and being tied together made it challenging. They found themselves caught in the ship's wake, likened to a giant washing machine by Rogers. The MV Curia, tasked by Australian authorities for their rescue, faced the formidable challenge of maneuvering a massive ship in rough seas to retrieve 2 individuals. After 11 attempts and powering down to prevent them from being drawn into the propeller, the crew successfully threw down life rings and a ladder for Rogers and McDermott. However, more challenges awaited. Both men were so weak that climbing the ladder, equivalent to scaling 3 stories, seemed nearly impossible in their condition. Fortunately, the crew managed to lasso McDermott and haul him onto the Curia. The same attempt with Rogers proved more strenuous due to his size and weight. As he reached the ship's edge, he fell back as his harness slipped off into the water, fortuitously landing in the middle of a life ring. After a grueling ordeal, both men were saved and brought back to dry land for treatment in a nearby hospital. Tragically, 3 of the 4 missing soldiers, Anne-Marie Pope, Tracy Luke, and Peter McLeod, were never found. The body of the 4th crew member, Christopher Hayes, was discovered still harnessed and attached to the Excalibur. An inquest delved into the fatal events on board the Excalibur that night. It revealed that during the yacht's construction, the keel had been poorly cut and welded in multiple pieces. Instead of being composed of 2 pieces of steel for maximum strength, this structural failure led to the detachment of the keel, rendering the vessel unable to maintain an upright position. Thanks for watching. Which one of these yacht disasters had you on the edge of your seat? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos like this one. We'll see you next time. Bye.